These two turnouts are the worst on my layout. They cause electrical dropouts and derailments. This is the Broadway Limited in-scale GE ES44AC with Paragon 4 and Rolling Thunder, and it's a pretty cool locomotive. We're going to see how it handles them and so much more. I knew that I had to have this locomotive, not only because it's the Southern Heritage paint scheme, but it's my son's favorite locomotive. This is his favorite shirt. It makes me proud. But how does this locomotive hold up when running on your layout? I could do the standard test and show you some shots of the locomotive rolling around the layout, or we could put it to work. Now let's do that. Before that, let's take a look at the model. As usual with Broadway Limited locomotives, the detail is exquisite with many separately applied details like grab irons. Also, I love the tiny signage that you can see on the various panels on the side of the locomotive. The trucks are wonderfully detailed as well. This thing also has some great sound too. Check it out. Now, I did do my normal endurance test, which is an 8-hour run on the layout, and it did totally fine. And it was able to pull 13 cars up my 2.3% grade, which is close to on par with other manufacturers. But the thing in the DCC era that really shows the locomotive has the right stuff isn't how fast it can go or how many cars it can pull. It's the ability to run slow and smooth. So today, this beautiful Norfolk Southern Heritage 8099 is going to be my yard switcher. Today we're going to have it shuffle cars around as two separate trains come in. One unit train with empties for the nearby coal mines and one mixed freight. Both trains will be dropping off and picking up, and the locomotive will have to do some switching gymnastics to get everything done. Oh, one more thing, I am not using era and road name specific rolling stock for this op, so you're going to see stuff from all over the place. Okay, let's go. 8099 starts its day prepping for the coal train to pick up these hoppers and drop off some empties. The unit train is pulling in now, and 8099 heads over to pick up the empty hoppers. This is the first real test right here. I'm going to move the locomotive over this double crossover that gives me headaches at low speeds, and we're only going to do it at speed step 1. The locomotive traverses it easily. This is probably helped along by the onboard capacitor that keeps the locomotive running when it encounters a spot of bad track. 8099 hooks up and pulls the empties back across the crossover again with no problems. Then the engine shoves the empties out of the way and goes and grabs the full coal cars. This is where it's going to encounter the second troublesome turnout. Hey, alliteration! This turnout's a little weird in terms of its trouble, because the straight is the troublesome one, not the diverging one. But 8099 tackled it with ease. As it is pulling the hoppers out, it has to go on an 11.25-inch super elevated curve to pull all the cars out. And I have had derailments in the past with other locomotives of multiple brands doing this, but it seemed to handle it fine. Even when it's shoving the cars back into the waiting consist, no issues whatsoever. The coal train can head out and 8099 can go grab the empties and store them. Once again, the turnout did not pose a problem. Next up, we have a mixed freight train that's coming in to pick up the cars from these two tracks. The train pulls in, and this time it heads onto the loop/yard lead on my layout. Kind of have a double purpose track there. 8099 comes back out and grabs the cars. It briefly fouls the main by storing the cars there while they're pulling the pickups out of the yard. These turnouts are a lot better, so there's going to be no issues with pulling the pickups out right here. The pickups are positioned so that the consisted locos can just grab and go. Once that is done, 8099 can store the cars and head back to the barn. I think the fastest I ran this little Broadway limited locomotive during this little op was speed step 20, and these are the factory defaults. A lot of times I was actually going below speed step 10, and keep in mind that I'm using the 128 speed step table. This little locomotive was a ton of fun, and I'm thoroughly impressed with its performance. I really like it, and I'm looking forward to getting it on my layout more. I may even decide to match it with my Paragon 3 SD70 that I have. Oh, and I just checked right before I recorded this. You can find several of these locomotives on Train World, including the Pennsylvania and Conrail Heritage schemes for under $200. They're on sale, so definitely check them out. Really cool locomotive from Broadway Limited. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.